guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about the amazing episode 29. So we start off with John smelling the perfume Fabri sent to him, and everybody is very tense, and he just says that it's a very ordinary smell. Sanem can't believe what she's hearing, and she's all happy when she smells it herself, which we already saw in the trailer. Later in the episode we get to hear why Fabri actually holds Sanem's scent back, and Minnie also asked him why he didn't release Sanem's scent, or was it that she asked him that he should wait 6 more months so that the launches shouldn't be that close together. So she kind of suspected something weird about Fabri and this whole John, Sanem and the whole perfume situation. But getting back to John and the agency, he's very angry. He wants to find out how Eileen got all the information. McKinnon is very angry about it, and he wants for John or the agency to pay a very high fine. John tells Emre that he should call Eileen, but she doesn't pick up because she's with Fabri and they all make fun of them. And she says, well, I will pack up my things and just disappear. Fabri gives her a check of like 500,000 Turkish lira for her to start a new life, and she's all happy about it. Then at the same time at the agency, Dagen comes in and confesses that she showed the campaign to Eileen, and you could really see that this job is her life, that she feels very sorry and very bad for what she's done. And I felt really bad for her because you saw how much it hurt her that she hurt John or the whole company. It was really heartbreaking to see her like that, and when she said that she wants to do everything that she can to make up for her mistake, but John is like, well, I can't trust you anymore, and he will fire her, she should just go. And it was kind of a deja vu moment for me, because it was just like he reacted when Metin had those documents for Mama David. So I was really hoping that he wouldn't really fire Deren, but yeah, in that moment she was fired and he just wanted to get out of the situation, and Sanem wanted to be next to him. Sanem was like, John, I will come with you, I want to be by your side, blah blah blah, don't worry, I won't talk at all. But then she keeps talking, which I thought was very funny. And one thing that I've noticed is that her shoes changed. At the beginning of the episode we get Sanem in this blush pink, what do you call it, knitted dress, kind of jumper, kind of, I don't know, really love that outfit. But she had those white high-heeled boots on, and then when she followed John out, she had like flat, not really ankle boots, but kind of sporty shoes on, so no high-heel boots. It was kind of a weird moment, but that's just a little thing that I've noticed. So as John goes, Mama David comes and Emre explains to her what happened, and she's very shocked that Eileen would do something like that, and also that Fabri would do something like that, and how could her sons bring such a person to the company, blah blah blah. Oh, and also Emre is like, well, I will talk with Jada and she should talk with McKinnon, that he should give them another chance. And Mama David is like, well, no, because John treated her badly at the bar, so she won't talk. And Emre is like, well, she shouldn't mix business with pleasure, kind of, so she should keep them separated, and calls her. Then Jada is like, well, I don't want to work with you anymore, blah blah blah, because I felt humiliated. And I was like, oh my god, seriously, like how petty can you be? This is a business relationship you have with John. I think that was kind of a kindergarten move from her. But there is one question that I have. Does this mean that Jada won't appear anymore? Like, is she gone like Fabri and Eileen, or will she appear sometime in the future? I don't know, because now Mama David has her Poland Joker and doesn't need Jada anymore, so I don't know, I don't really see the reason why Jada should come again. And also, where is Gamze? I haven't seen her in ages, even though I didn't really like her, but sometimes I liked her because she was Team Janem, but then she was kind of on Jada's side. Where is Gamze? The same goes for where's Levent and where's Sinan. Now that Polen is back, I want to see Levent. Oh god, then we also have the Mefkebe Nihat storyline where Mefkebe wants to sell organic stuff in their shop and Nihat is like, no, we don't have space, and they start kind of fighting. It was so hilarious, and then she's like, okay, if you don't let me, I will just sell it, and then she sells it in front of her house. And of course Aisun is like, well, she has to pay taxes, blah blah blah, so she calls this kind of police. It wasn't really police, I don't know the English word for it, but it was kind of a police. So they come and they tell Mefkebe and Muzo that they have to pay a fine if they won't take everything away. And Mefkebe then finds out that Aisun called and she gets all angry, but then she goes back to the shop and tries to convince Nihat to sell it in the shop, and he's like, no. Then they start fighting. Muzo is losing his head, is like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So he calls Sanem and tells her, well, they're fighting again, come quickly. Layla and Sanem come, and then Mefkebe sees this empty shop kind of, and is like, well, how much do you want? And this person says the price, and she's like, well, I'll take it and I will rent it. And so we're going to have pretty nice and funny episodes coming concerning Mefkebe and Nihat, because their shops are kind of on opposite sides of the street, so it's going to be very funny to see how it all works out. Then we also have the Layla Emre storyline going on, where Layla finds out that Emre actually isn't in a relationship with Aylin. You can see her shocked face when he tells her everything, that he was always pushing Aylin away, but she's like, no, I saw you and Aylin told me that. And he's like, well, of course. And then he puts the pieces together and is like, you got jealous or you got angry because of that, and that's why you married Osman. And I was like, oh my god, he sees this as well. And you can really see her regret and shock at the same time. And then who walks in? Osman. And I was like, what are you doing there? Like, what? And then his explanation why he was there, he was like, well, you didn't pick up your phone and I got worried, so I came and people told me that you were here. And I was like, well, that's not a reason to come. Like, why? What? So I was quite annoyed with Osman in this episode. It was just too much, but at the same time it keeps the story going, and it keeps like Emre wanting Layla more and Layla kind of trying to figure out what she should do. As I already said, JJ was at his peak. In this episode he signed the contract, but before he signed the contract with Melahad, he was like, well, he needs to read everything. Even Muzo was very annoyed, and Ayhan was very annoyed because he wouldn't sign. Melahad, of course, was annoyed with JJ. And then when she was like, you know what, just forget it, I won't rent it out, JJ is like, oh no, let me just sign, it's no problem. And he signs. I thought it was hilarious. And then when Muzo, Ayhan and JJ were waiting for this car to arrive with JJ's stuff, and women who live near JJ came with food as a welcome, and he was so overwhelmed with it, he didn't know what to do. And then the car kind of rescued him, and this whole moving process was very funny. I loved it. And then at the end of it, Muzo is just lying down and sleeping, and there Sanem calls Daran because she wants to come up with a new campaign for Makinen, and they should all meet up at Sanem's place and work things out. And Daran was like, okay, I hope it will work out and everything. Sanem also convinces Makinen he should give them another chance, and that they will prepare a new campaign for him, and if he doesn't like the campaign, they will pay the fine. Oh, well, I forgot, before JJ signed the contract, Melahad called him when he's available to come and sign the contract, and it was so hilarious because he was kind of proving her or showing her that he's very busy and business type of guy. And then Mela had asked him if he was available, and he's like, well, let me just check. And then he just looks at his phone for 1 second and is like, well, yes, I have time at that and that time. Then we also have the Mine Fabri storyline. At first she's really happy because people are excited for this perfume and everything, but then when she gets a call from John's lawyer that Fabri copied or just took the campaign, and she's very like, is it true or what's this about? And Fabri is very relaxed and is like, yeah, it's true. And she gets really angry because she doesn't want to sync with Fabri basically, and Fabri's like, well, you don't know anything about it, blah blah blah, and gets also very angry. And she's like, you know what, you're alone in this, and goes to the archives and takes every document that proves that Fabri did illegal stuff. She was kind of the hero of the episode, and I really do hope to see her more in the future. Maybe she could work with John, so to kind of get back to the John and Sanem storyline. So they went away for John just to clear his head, and he takes out his camera because that relaxes him, and then the whole preview happens, or not, it wasn't a preview, it was the second trailer. So the whole second trailer happens and some more things. Very adorable. One thing that I really thought was cute to bring Captain Tassin back. It was actually the captain that appeared in episode 3, I think, where John had this whole photo shoot and Sanem was the model. Then they go and drink some tea, and then the preview happened, and Emre actually calls John because Mama David wants to talk to both of them and he should just listen to her. So John agrees after a long time of convincing, kind of. So he goes home and Mama David is like, well, you should know my side of the story. But before she does that, she meets up with Pauline. As much as I dislike Pauline, I really like her style. So she meets up with Mama David and they're talking about John, about how Pauline is, how Mama David is. And Pauline tells Mama David that her father divorced his third wife. So Mama David is very intrigued. So maybe she will kind of marry Pauline's father. I don't know, but it looks like it. So Mama David is like, well, you're a woman that John needs in his life, you're smart, beautiful, blah blah blah, but at the moment, or she said, for now he's with Sanem, and she clouds his mind. And Pauline, I really liked it because she was like, well, he doesn't love me or he doesn't like me like that. But Mama David is like, well, I will do everything possible for him to see you like that. Basically for John to like Pauline as a girlfriend. In order for her to achieve it, she will tell a secret. And that secret is this whole conversation she has with John and Emre. So her story basically is that Aziz cheated on her with his assistant, and that she went to her mother for the time being, and she was very angry and sad and devastated, and people were talking about her situation, and Aziz wanted her back or wanted to apologize, but she didn't accept the apology. That's why he kept John from her, but Emre was too young, so Emre really needed his mother. So she took Emre and Aziz as a punishment for her not accepting his apology. He kept John from her and fed him all this negative information about Mama David. She was also forced to move abroad. That was basically the story, and I kind of felt bad to see her that sad, but knowing why she told John and Emre this story had kind of a bitter taste for me. And then she went away to freshen up and everything, and John was kind of shocked. Well, he was more speechless. And then Mama David comes back and is like, well, now that I told you that, your hatred against me can go away because you know that it was all fed to you by your father, and we can go back to business. And in that moment I was like, okay, that went downhill very, very quickly. Like, she could have saved the moment and just let it be, but no, she said let's go back to business, and John was like, well, if that's that, then I will go, blah blah blah. So he goes. Then we have this whole working on the campaign thing. So there were quite adorable moments. So the first one was Ayhan kissing JJ's cheek, and then him being, oh, should I do it, should I not, and then kissing her and Gülü seeing it and other people seeing it. It was so cute. Then Deren apologizing to Sanem for using her slogan and explaining to her this whole situation, and Sanem is like, of course, no problem, blah blah blah. And then Deren, because she's not used to like physical contact and being in such a situation, she's like, well, I'm going to hug you now. Then it's a very awkward hug, but Sanem doesn't mind at all. It was just really nice to see Sanem and Deren kind of getting close to each other. I really want to see a friendship there. Then Mevkibe and Nihat come and check up on them, and then Sanem says, we'll work quietly, you go relax, do whatever, we'll work here. And JJ is like, I'll have everything under control, don't worry. Then Muzo comes in sometime later when everyone is half asleep with çiğ köfte and a player box kind of, and just turns up the music and wants everyone to dance because he wants to re-energize everyone. And the fact that Deren was dancing, so her body was moving but her face wasn't very amused. Mevkibe comes in, everything stops. I loved Mevkibe so much in that moment, and she's like, what is happening here? Then she just starts shaking her shoulders and is like, why didn't you call me? And then starts dancing. It was hilarious. I laughed so much. And then Nihat comes and everything stops. JJ is like, oh no, what have we done? And then is just like trying to do something and kissing his forehead. It was hilarious. I have no clue what the problem with Nihat and JJ is. Like, why is Nihat always looking at JJ and JJ kind of avoiding his looks and kind of being afraid of him? It was hilarious. And then they explain the situation, that they haven't found the slogan. Nihat is like, well, what's it for? And they tell him it's for a perfume, and he tells how he met Mevkibe for the first time, and he basically says a word, ulaşılmaz, I think it was, like unattainable. Sanem is like, that's our slogan, and everyone is very happy. And Nihat is like, well, see, I can help you out, blah blah blah. And then they all start dancing again and being all happy. Then Mevkibe and Nihat go back to sleep, and Nihat is just like JJ kind of dances but still looks at Nihat, and then Nihat goes but then reappears behind the cupboard. It was hilarious. Like, I loved that scene so much. Then Can calls Sanem. Sanem tells him that she prepares a surprise for him. He's all excited, and then he also says that he rethought this whole Deren situation, that he made a hasty decision with firing Deren, and he will call her in the morning and apologize to her. And Sanem is all happy and tells Deren about this whole conversation she had with Can, and she thanks Sanem for everything. Then the next day they're all like happy and proud of themselves that they made this whole campaign for Red Mod, and they show it to Can. Can approves of this whole campaign, he likes it. Deren comes to Can's office, he apologizes to her, they make up, they're all very happy. Then they go to Mäkinen. Mäkinen approves of this whole campaign. Then Mine calls Can and asks him if they can meet up somewhere, and he's like, okay. So they meet up. She tells him everything about this whole situation. She apologizes for everything Fabri has done. Then she tells him that she actually filed a complaint against Fabri with all the documents she got from the archives. Now it kind of makes sense, because at first I was like, well, who made the complaint against Fabri when I saw the trailer? Now it makes sense that it was Mine, because she had all those documents and proof. And then Can asks if there are also documents about his work with Eileen, and she says yes, of course, and asks if she can email them so he can also file a complaint. So what I gathered from their whole conversation, Mine filed a complaint against Fabri and Can filed a complaint against Eileen, because he didn't really have that much proof against Fabri. He only had proof against Eileen, so the camera footage and also the documents he got from Mine. Then before Can goes, because he's like, well, I want to see how the police gets Fabri, she tells him about Sanem selling her perfume to Fabri and shows him the contract, and you can see those flashbacks that he puts the pieces together. All the times Sanem wanted to tell him about this whole perfume thing. Then we see him going to Fabri's office and being all relaxed, all cool, sitting down. Then he says that he knew all along that Sanem would sell her perfume to save him. So my question is, did he really know this all along, or was it just like a facade he put up in front of Fabri so he wouldn't seem that he didn't know about the situation? So now that he has the contract, he knows for sure. I don't know if that makes sense, but my question is, did he really know all along? I don't think so. Anyways, Fabri is like, well, here's the contract between me and Sanem, and the scent belongs to me now. Can just rips it off and just flings it up in the air. I loved it so much. And then Fabri is like, what are you doing? I'm calling police. And then he's like, well, police is going to get you first. I loved this moment so much when Can just stands up and is like, I told you the scent was mine, and just walks away. Then at the same time we also see Eileen getting arrested. So right before she wanted to leave, she gets arrested, and I loved it so much to finally see her handcuffed. And then we see Emre getting a phone call where I think their lawyer tells him that Eileen and Fabri got arrested. Mama David is all happy about it. Can comes and confronts Emre if he knew about Sanem selling Fabri the scent. I feel really bad for Emre. Emre calls Sanem and tells her that Can knows about everything. Sanem is all stressed, and Emre tells her that maybe he's at the cottage. She drives to the cottage. And then, you know, the end of the episode is near, because she walks up to the cottage in slow motion, and it was kind of a deja vu moment for me once again. I think it was episode 9 where she drove Pauline to the cottage where Can was alone. First you see Can, and I was like, please Pauline, don't be in there. I don't want you in there. This is Canem's special place. And what do I see? A hand on Can's like knee, and Pauline sitting there, and I'm like, what is happening? Can is looking kind of shocked, surprised at Sanem. Sanem looks hurt, and Pauline has this like a little smirk if you look really closely. Now it makes sense why Mama David was all smiley and talking to someone after Can stormed off. I was kind of shocked to see Pauline in there actually, because the last time, like episode 10 or so, Can was very like, don't come inside, I'll just close up and we'll go. So why let her inside now? I don't get it. Anyways, before I get way too much into it, let's head into Alex's predictions for episode 30. As I was saying, I was very devastated to see Pauline in Can's cottage. I really do hope that Sanem would just walk away, be kind of devastated that he would let Pauline in the cottage. What I could also see, so either Sanem walking away, Can going after her, trying to explain the whole situation, or, which I hope won't happen, Can won't say a word, but then Pauline would be like, well, I think you should let Can be, kind of pushing Sanem away so she could stay alone with Can at the cottage. So these are my two alternatives how episode 30 could go on. Then we got the preview, and there we get like Can being on a trip and Sanem kind of following him, so he doesn't know that Sanem is there. It will be funny, that's for sure. Judging by Can's reactions when he saw Sanem, I think he's still hurt and acting cold towards Sanem. Sanem trying to make it up to Can. What I can see is that he's not as cold as he was when he found out this whole engagement thing. I don't remember which episode. And just this morning, as of me filming it right now, we got the first trailer. I honestly don't know what to think about Pauline at the moment. Like, does she have good intentions? Will she let herself be influenced by Mama David? Will she be pro Canem? I think she will try to get Can back. I don't know. I can't really judge Pauline at the moment. And then we also see that Leyla and Emre tell Sanem that she should also go with Can. It seems to me that Can is on a work trip, kind of just him, so no one else from the company, and Emre and Leyla just push Sanem to go as well. That's where they will get close to each other again. What I've seen, this whole yoga scene is going to be hilarious, and I've also seen some backstage pictures that the actors posted or crew members. There's this scene of Can and Sanem dancing, her having this white dress on. I'm really looking forward to that scene, and I have a feeling that will happen while they're away. I hope it won't be a dream, because we have experience with that whole situation, Sanem being in a white dress and then it all being a dream. I've also seen that Pauline will kind of be there, so I think that Mama David will send her there as well. That's all I can say for my predictions. I hope I didn't forget anything concerning my review, my predictions. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It will really mean a lot to me. Comment down below what your thoughts are on episode 29, maybe even episode 30. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to see more Erkenci Kush reviews and just videos that I do in general, and click the bell button to get notifications whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!